Ben Shalom beat Eddie Hearn on the Casey Benjamin, Dalton Smith purse bid for the British title at 140. He beat him out. So Matchroom's Dalton Smith had to travel over to Sky to defend his British title. Dalton Smith won a 12-round decision. This was in November. Now, Eddie said that Dalton was still in contract at the time. But obviously he wasn't, because he signed a new deal today with Matchroom. Not before Ben Shalom was threatening to bring Dalton over to Sky. Like, it looks like Lawrence Okoli has gone over there. Liam Smith went over there from Matchroom. Savannah Marshall, Natasha Jonas, Richard Riakporhe, Chris Billiam-Smith recently. And I've probably actually missed some. It's been that many fighters have left Matchroom to go over to Sky. Matchroom have also got outbid for Olympians like Fraser Clark, Ben Whittaker, and the two ladies, is it Price and Argenstall. I don't think Ben Shalom is going to be that put out that he didn't get Dalton Smith. But Eddie, Matchroom, and the Zone will be, a little relieved that they've somewhat stemmed the tide a little. And they will see this as a victory. Ben Shalom was saying that Dalton Smith wants to be a Sky fighter. That's what he was saying, implying that he knew something that Eddie didn't know about his fighter. But Dalton has put pen to paper, ending boxer and Matchroom speculation. He's re-signed in a multi-fight deal. He fought 4 times this year, picking up the British title in August, picking up the British title and defending it, and before that, defending his WBC International Silver Super Lightweight title. He wants to stay busy for 2023. He's delighted to sign a multi-fight extension with Matchroom. He said 2022 was a huge success. He wants to close the year selling out the arena before turning his attention onto Hillsborough stadiums and world titles in 2024. Hearn has been singing Dalton's praises, calling him one of the brightest future stars in the sport, and he too echoed the idea of a stadium fight at the home of his local team. I don't want to put a dampener on it, Eddie, but Dalton is a little way off doing stadiums right now. But at 25 years of age, 1 British title defence behind him, he's young enough and has time on his side to perhaps start climbing through the world rankings at 140. Michael Gomez came from an Irish travelling family. They moved to Manchester. How they got that name Gomez, I don't know. But it is what it is. I don't know if they're from Mexican descent. He used to wear a sombrero into the ring. Michael became a pro at 17, which is a very young age. And he was a very rowdy lad. Got in with bad crowds and got stabbed when he was 17, when he was with fellow boxer, actually, Michael Jennings. He recovered from the stabbing, and he was a very talented fighter who stopped Alex Arthur, who went on to become a featherweight champion. I believe Gomez was more talented than Alex Arthur, obviously when he beat him, but stuff outside the ring stopped him from getting to his goals, whereas Alex Arthur wasn't getting in the shit that Michael Gomez was getting in and was focused enough to get hold of a world title. I tell you what, yeah, between Millennium and 2010, there was an influx of good boxers from Manchester. Michael Jennings, who also got stabbed alongside Michael Gomez. Same incident. I haven't really went back on the story, I'm just going off memory. They weren't starting trouble, I believe they was attacked. Yeah, Michael Jennings, he was good. Amir Khan, he's from Bolton, more or less Manchesterish. You had Michael Gomez. Michael Brody was another one. Tough as fuck, bro. Michael Brody was in some great fight. Listen, he was very close to winning that world title against Injin Chi. Very tough Korean fighter. Good fights. These Manchester kids were tough. And good fighters. Good value. Jamie Moore, he was from Salford. More or less Manchester. Macklin. And Ricky Hatton. Now, most of you know enough about Ricky Hatton where I don't have to do a detailed breakdown. Who could foresee a potential fight between Michael Gomez's son, Michael Gomez Jr., and Campbell Hatton? And they're talking about a potential matchup between Campbell Hatton and Michael Gomez Jr. I don't know nothing about Michael Gomez Jr. I'm going to do some research. And I'll edit whatever tidbits I pull up and put it in the vid. This could be a very big fight, you know. For those outside of the British boxing market but are a little interested in it and probably don't go as far back as some of us, this could be a big fight in Manchester, you know. Michael Gomez was very popular. He nearly knocked Amir Khan out, Michael Gomez. I'm not talking about some fighter who no one knew about or wasn't respected. Nah, Michael Gomez was a really good fighter. Very popular. And Ricky Hatton, his popularity speaks for itself. Now, Gomez Jr. lives in Crumpsall, Lancashire. That's close enough, Lancashire. I mean, Manchester, Lancashire. Right? I'm grouping them all in. Nah. Well, he's 18-1 with 5 knockouts. Campbell has only got 7 fights. But Gomez hasn't been impressed with his own form recently, and that's out of his own mouth. And he says, if Campbell's going to fight him, he should fight him now while he's boxing terribly. So the fight would be at lightweight if it was to happen. Maybe Team Hatton might opt out saying it's too early, but it's a possibility. The Zone had a playlist of some of the good and great fights that they put on this year. Wood versus Conlon for the WBA interim featherweight title. Triple G versus Ryota Murata, unification at 160. That was a good fight. Triple G overcame a sluggish start and scored a stoppage. Juan Estrada, I really like Juan Estrada, but I think he was a little fortunate to get the nod over Roman Gonzalez again. That was a very good fight though. That was for the WBC World Super Flyweight title. Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. That was for all the marbles undisputed at 135 for the ladies. Excellent fight. Katie Taylor edged it out. Zelfa Barrett and Rakimov challenged for the vacant IBF Super Featherweight title. That was an excellent fight. Rakimov came from behind and scored a stoppage. Butayev and Stanionis was a very good welterweight fight on the PBC. I enjoyed that one. Fighter of the year is Dimitri Bivol. He beat a pound for pound top 2, top 1, top 3 consensus fighter in Saul Alvarez. Great win. And followed that up against the 44-0 and for the most part cruiserweight Gilberto Ramirez and schooled him over 12. That's my fighter of the year. Ramirez was outclassed so badly, he was so discombobulated, he actually thought that he had a case on the scorecards. Yeah. The Who Said You was a Boogieman award goes to Alan Kadalai Yanni-Beck after he threatened to put our lad Denzel from fucking South London in a wheelchair. Denzel said, we don't do wheelchairs in South London, mate. Most unattractive boxing styles, for me this is personal, most of this is personal, Josh Kelly and Jessica McCaskill. Meltdown of the year, boy, hate to do it, AJ, hate to do it. Anthony Joshua after he lost the rematch to Alexander Usyk. I'm not talking about when he was in the press conference and the tears got the better of him. I don't consider that a meltdown. That's just the event of training so hard for something, working so hard at something and just not being able to achieve it, you know. But the speech in the ring and all that.
So that's just emotion. Wait, I'm talking. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, guys. Look, if you knew my story, you would understand the passion. I ain't no amateur boxer from 5 years old that was an elite prospect from my youth, bro. I was going to jail. I see some hype little youths in Reading jail. I got bail and I started training my ass off. Because if I got sentenced, I wanted to be able to fight. I bust my case. But cousin Benga, where's he at? G14, raise your hand. I'm stealing this Usyk, sorry. But it's because the passion we put into this man. Guys, I'm telling you, this guy to be me tonight, maybe I could have done better, but it shows the levels of hard work he must have put in. So please give him a round of applause as our heavyweight champion of the world. Woo! I'm not a 12-round fighter. Look at me. I'm a new breed of heavyweights. All them heavyweights, Mike Tyson, Sonny Liston, Jack Dempsey. Oh, yeah, you don't throw combinations like Rocky Marciano. Because I ain't 14 stone, that's why. I'm 18 stone, I'm heavy. It's hard work. This guy here is a phenomenal talent. We're going to cheer for him 3 times. Well, how many belts you got now, bro? 5. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. And as I said, I was studying Ukraine and all the champions that have come from your amazing country, but I've never been there. But at the same time, what's happening there is, I don't know what's happening, but it's not nice at the end of the day. I've seen it with Lomachenko in his second fight against Orlando. There was unrest in Ukraine, right or wrong. There was issues in Ukraine in your second fight. There was civil war. Vitaly Klitschko, when he faced Danny Williams, civil unrest. Usyk as a champion, please raise your hand. Under them circumstances, he managed to become champion. Champ, champ! Champ, champ! Champ, champ! And I just want to say, Bismillah.
The performance by Usyk, in my opinion, was one of the performances of the year, because the second fight against a unified champion with a KO ratio, I believe in the high 90s, twice unified champion, with several defenses, former Olympic champion, a quick heavyweight for that size. He said, you know, he's not 14 stone, he can't throw them combinations like that, but he throws decent combinations for a man that size. And this is my opinion, and no one's going to change my opinion. I think Joshua is a very good heavyweight. And the second fight for Usyk, in theory, a harder fight. Because this time, Joshua had time to prep for what he couldn't deal with in the first fight. He had more time to acclimatize to the southpaw stance. He had more time to figure out how he could use his vast physical advantages and implement them effectively, and understand what his game plan was, and Usyk still pulled off the victory. I think it's an excellent victory. Excellent victory. And people don't appreciate that. You know, like, I'm talking to the people who understand that if you dismiss Joshua's resume, then you have to dismiss Usyk's victory. I'm talking to the people who understand it in that way. Just like rebounding from a defeat like Joshua did from Andy Ruiz, and then having to make the adjustments and get your mind right is difficult. Defending twice against a very hard punching heavyweight, a physically imposing heavyweight who's quick, and this time he knows what you can do, showed the pedigree of Alexander Usyk. If you're not going to give the fighters at championship level their credit, then you can't fanboy for the fighters who beat these guys. You can't. It's as simple as that. The people who say Joshua is useless and hasn't done anything in his career are likely the same people who scrutinize Mike Tyson's resume and say the same thing. Life's too short. Well, you should be objective and listen to everyone. No, I've done study on Mike Tyson. You can't tell me nothing. I don't believe I need to listen to what you have to say, and I won't. I move on. Errol Spence versus Ugas was a decent performance. I also enjoyed watching Ebony Bridges kick Shannon O'Connell's ass. Shannon just done too much talking about Ebony's integrity. She went way too far with it. Way too far. Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall was a good performance. It was a close fight. I've watched it a couple of times since. It was close, but it was a good performance. Savannah Marshall triggered her rematch clause. Hopefully she'll be taking on Clarissa Shields again next year. Clarissa Shields wants to fight in America when she has had no serious backers of note in America. She's struggling to come to terms that there's no bag out there in America. The bag is here. This is where she's appreciated. She's struggling to come to terms with that. And I perhaps understand why. But where are they going to generate the money to pay you for a Savannah Marshall rematch in America? Do you want to see that graphic I had the other day? Eddie Hearn hosted 37 women's boxing matches last year. Sky 30. ESPN and the PBC had under 5 fights or so. There's no money out there for you. The most intense beef of the year was between Alicia Baumgardner and Michaela Mayor. They fought for the unified super featherweight titles. It's the ladies representing. Alicia won a razor-thin decision and basically broke Michaela's heart. She hasn't stopped complaining ever since. It wasn't a robbery though. It was a tough fight. It needs a rematch though. It does need a rematch. Clean up the situation.
Yeah, nah. Crawford remind me of them old school fighters, man. He just got dogged, his heart, and he sees stuff and he'll take advantage of it. Because some of these guys just be swinging.
See, I said that the first few times I watched Terence Crawford fight, and he wasn't even as good as he is now. And I was saying, who does he remind me of from the old school? And I realized it's not so much he reminds me of one singular fighter from the past. It's the way he approaches the fight, his body mechanics. He is an old school African American fighter fighting in 2022, and there ain't many of them. There ain't many of them out there. The little clip I played there from ES News, that was Kenneth Wack, who fought my friend Mark Prince on a Frank Warren bill in the late 90s. And I was expecting it to be a routine win for Mark. And Kenneth Wack made the fight an absolute war. Despite what the scorecards say, it was an absolute war. And Mark edged it out. A great fight. And then I find out today, this guy's a great friend of Floyd Mayweather. He's from around that region, Detroit, Michigan, you know, where they know all them crafty skills he was using against Mark. They need to post that fight up online. I remember finding it, but it's not labeled as a fight. It was part of a video. They need to post it up online, that fight. Dude was just crafty in that pocket, man. I believe Mark got him as a sparring partner after, you know. I believe he did. Need to learn some of them skills. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Promoter beefs, well, Eddie is the common denominator in most of them. You know, he's went up against Lou DiBella, Leonard Ellaby, Bob Arum, Frank Warren, and the new rival is Ben Shalom, where it's not just words. Shalom, Sky, Boxer XX have signed up several Matchroom fighters who have defected over to that side, and it is becoming very intensive. Let's just say that. The most disrespected fighter, in my opinion, is Devin Haney, undisputed 135-pound champion. They want to tell me he hasn't fought anybody when he's got all 4 straps. Well, who is it he can fight? Exactly. He's fought the relevant people to get the straps. He's beat Kambosos in a unification to become undisputed and defended against the same man successfully in Australia, away from home. Australia's not an easy place to win fights. You know, it's either he hasn't fought anybody or he's boring. And he's far from boring. Far from boring. One of the best boxers in the game. And if he fights Lomachenko, unless he has serious issues with the weight, which I won't use as an excuse if he loses, he will clean Lomachenko's clock. I'm putting that out there now. Spare a thought for Oscar Rivas. From what I'm hearing, his career could be over after having to withdraw from the FA Ajagba fight a few weeks back on ESPN. Looks like his career is over. No commission with any credibility is going to pass this guy to fight. He's had eye issues previously as well. I'm not sure if this is a reoccurring injury, but the doctor said he forbids him to enter the ring under these conditions. He injured the eye, or maybe re-injured the eye, in a recent sparring session. He had a record of 28-1, the one loss to Dillian White, and 19 knockouts. He was an exciting fighter to watch. He did become a world champion of sorts, winning the inaugural WBC Bridgerweight title in an excellent fight against a Canadian named Rosiski. Let's hope he can transition into life without boxing, without some of the issues we've seen other boxers have. Kell Brook recently confessed to having issues without the routine of training and preparing for a fight. He misses it that badly, and apparently he is in the gym with Dominic Ingle and will more than likely fight next year. And a Chris Eubank fight could be possible on Sky, or maybe Conor Benn on DAZN. You know, you'll have to endure all the, please retire Kell, that crew there. That's what Kell knows. He was boxing from a young boy with Brendan Ingle, Dominic's dad. He knows boxing. There are no fairy tale endings. The fairy tale ending should have been stopping Amir Khan this year. A long anticipated fight. He got that. He got paid well. But the overwhelming urge to box rules out fairy tale endings for boxers for the most part. Yes, I purchased the pay-per-view, and it was a very successful pay-per-view, done 600,000 buys or so, I purchased KERN versus Brook, and it was well worth the purchase as far as I was concerned. KERN wisely didn't trigger the rematch clause because it's just going to be the same thing again.